The guys at From Corner to Corner want to thank you for being such loyal listeners. We are excited that Season 3 is just around the corner. And with that being said, they are taking a little break to prep for Season 3. In the meantime, enjoy some of our favorite coaches shows we have had, and Season 3 will be here before you know it. Thanks as always for listening.
The guys behind the From Corner to Corner podcast are diving deep into Montgomery County High School sports with the Community Trust Bank Coaches Corner. Join us as we talk local high school athletics with your local coaches. Whether you're a student athlete or a screaming fan, this is the place to turn to get the inside scoop before the next big game. And now it's time for the show with Sean Kiper, Neil Payne, Adam Muncy, and Wes Crouch.
And welcome back, guys. We are here again with our Community Trust Bank Coaches Corner, presented by the guys from Corner to Corner. Tonight you have Wes and I here in studio.
Hey, guys.
We are just flying solo. Well, not really flying solo. We're joined again by Coach Jason Mays.
Hello.
The Montgomery County Indians boys basketball coach. Coach, thanks for joining us again this week.
Thank you guys for having me. I had such a good time. Like Ernie Banks said, on a Saturday with playing for the Cubs. Hey, it's so nice. Let's play twice. I had such a good time the first time. We're coming back for a second round.
Well, I missed out on the first go round.
Yeah,
I was not here, and then I don't. The guys will tell you, I'm not a faithful listener to the show because typically I'm on the show. So whenever you were on the first time and then I wasn't here, Coach, you dropped a name of a place. That is near and dear to my heart. I got my bachelor's degree from St. Catherine College.
Oh, man.
So
Springfield boy.
Yeah, well, I'm from Lebanon.
Oh, you really?
Yeah, so that's kind of a bad thing to say to a Lebanon kid is that I was a Springfield boy.
That's right.
But sure enough, I went to school there. It was a junior college, and I was a soccer player. I jokingly say that they enjoyed my presence on the campus so much that they changed to 4 years just to keep me there. I was on the 5-year plan at St. Catherine.
I was on one of those.
So I was on the 5-year plan at a junior college, but they eventually went 4-year, and I graduated there. I met my wife there. But, so it was very, very interesting to hear that you have some St. Catherine roots.
That was So I was supposed to go coach at Maine Central Institute right out of college. I actually got offered the job December before I actually graduated in May of '99. And Max Good left to go to UNLV, and the job fell through. I spent some time up there in the winter, but I was supposed to go live there, move there, run intramurals, run a dorm, and be an assistant basketball coach. And when he left to go to UNLV, that fell through, and it was like August 1st, and I didn't have a job. And an assistant position at St. Catherine opened up because Donnie Tyndall, who's now a great, he's not just now a great basketball coach, but he's currently a basketball coach at Chipola Junior College in Marianna, Florida, one of the best programs at the junior college level in the country. Prior to that, he was at University of Tennessee as head coach, Southern Miss as head coach, Morehead State as head coach. Donnie played at Morehead. He's from Michigan, but his first job was actually at JUCO in Iowa. Then his second job was at St. Catherine.
Sure was.
He left to take a spot on the LSU staff with John Brady. Is it Coach Brady? I think his first name was John. Yeah.
It was.
And so the assistant got the job, and so I became the new assistant. And so timing was good. I lived downtown Springfield. I lived in the basement of a 95-year-old retired doctor's house. He lived there by himself, and that was the only time I've had to resuscitate somebody mouth to mouth. I heard a big thump. He's passed on, obviously, but I heard a big thump when they ran up there, and he was on the kitchen floor.
Oh, wow.
He had a heart attack or something, but called 911, brought him back, and told him I never wanted to kiss him again. But that was an experience. I had so many stories from the year of St. Catherine. There was nothing easy at all
Right.
about my year at St. Catherine. But it's also why I was hooked on coaching. You know, I mean, it was so the Hardys there would give me cold chicken after they closed because they knew I was broke, and they would give me a tub of cold chicken. So instead of throwing it out, I'd swing by and they'd give it to me. The manager at the Pizza Hut would let me write a cold check until payday. He'd hold it until payday and then cash it.
Yep.
I mean, just really good people.
Yeah.
I mean, I was making like $700 a month. I mean, it was nothing.
Wow.
And I had to pay rent. And the sisters, God bless their soul, they would let me eat for free in the cafeteria.
No.
They said, we'll let you eat in the student cafeteria, but if you're going to eat with the faculty, you have to pay. I was like, there was a big difference between the student cafeteria and the faculty cafeteria.
Yeah.
But it was so cool. Like we had Big Joe Sykes. He was 6'10", was committed to Louisville. Ended up playing at Louisiana Tech. We had 6'11" Derek Huff, who ended up playing at Wisconsin Milwaukee. We had a kid signed with Nebraska. We had Dante Smith went to Drake. We had Aaron Knight went to Drake. We had a good player, had several NAI and Division II guys. Chad Newby played at Bellarmine. J.T. Burton, the head coach at Tusculum now. He played at Tennessee Wesleyan. But it was awesome. Joe Sykes, to make money, the baseball coach, who's now the head coach at Cumberland's. Brad, what's Brad's last name? Brad, great baseball coach. Anyways, he would pay Joe and Derek 25 cents a baseball that they got out of the pond.
Yep.
The sisters didn't like baseballs going in, aggravating the aqua environment there that the fish swam in.
Okay.
So they would walk out of that pond and they would just feel with their feet for baseballs because they were taller, so they could go further out in the pond.
Right.
And they would fetch out. I mean, Brad couldn't use the baseballs; just the sisters wanted the baseballs out of the pond. You know, but Joe would come up with the ball. I said, how much you make tonight? About $4. Fetch your baseballs out of the pond.
Right. Well, and so J.T. Burton is a dear close friend of mine.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he would eventually come back to St. Catherine as the head coach, and he is doing a great job down at Tennessee. But when I heard that, I was like, man. And I've had this conversation with JT numerous times. If you can coach at St. Catherine and be successful, you can coach anywhere. Because
Amen.
If you can get players to come to St. Catherine in BFE Kentucky, where there's nothing.
2 scholarships
that you just heard. I mean, you heard Coach say that you got guys that go to Drake, you got guys that go to Louisville, you got guys that go to Milwaukee West. Like they would get some dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the only junior college in Kentucky that had a. Now, before that, you had Sullivan had a basketball program, and the St. Catherine Sullivan games used to be righteous. I mean, they were really intense basketball games. Sullivan did away with the program, so St. Catherine there for a while was the only junior college athletic program in Kentucky. So it made recruiting Kentucky kids a little bit easier. But I was always in Louisville. But JT, I'll tell you a funny story on JT. You're from Lebanon, so the hospital in Lebanon, Springview Hospital. I can't tell this in a short. I'll try to speed this up. It's a great story though. It's the best story, actually. So we had a kid named I'll just say Deshaun. I won't use his last name. The kid who went to Nebraska. He had a pet python in the dorms.
Oh.
If the sisters would have found out, that could have been interesting. and people listen, when I say sisters, the school was founded by the Franciscan Sisterhood.
The Dominican Sisters.
Of the Catholic Church. And so they lived there. They were resident nuns, and a lot of them taught classes, and they were really good women, but set in their ways for sure. And so it was very important that the players' living quarters were separate, obviously, from the sisters. So Deshaun, I didn't know he had a pet python up in the dorm. Apparently everybody knew except for me and our head coach, because he would just let the snake wander in the hallway and stuff. And this is a growing python. And it was something else. But anyways, it was Christmas break and he had to ride home to Louisville. So I said, well, hop in, I'll take you home. And we had like a week and a half off. And he has this satchel, and it's tied at the top. And I said, what's in the satchel? He says, it's my snake, coach. I said, you have a snake? And he's like, yeah. I said, you want to see it? I'm like, no, I don't want to see it. I said, I usually take it out when I ride in the car. I said, no, you're leaving that thing right there. But it was cold, so he couldn't put it in the bed of my pickup trucks because, it was cold.
Yeah,
Snakes, pythons don't like cold weather. So we put it in the back, and I said, you hungry? I forgot about the snake, and we stop at Waffle House, like in Bardstown or Shepherdsville or somewhere on the way, and drop him off. Hey, have a good Christmas break. I'll see you in a week or two. Get all the way back to Springfield, get out of the truck, go in my house, sleep. I was going recruiting the next day, and get up and open the door, and my truck's had the worst smell ever.
Oh, no.
And I was like, man, what is that? And I was like, I looked under the wheel wells, thinking I ran over something last night. I got caught up in the wheel well. I opened my hood, looked along the firewall, nothing. So in December, I'm going to a recruiting event in Kaskaskia, Illinois, with both windows down, a boggin on my head, a winter coat on, gloves on, driving. I mean, you can imagine how cold it was in Illinois in late December. And the next day, I take it to a car dealership, the one there in Springfield. I said, you guys got to detail this out. I said, I don't know what it is. I said, something's dead in here. I'm like, well, find it. Couldn't find it. So they shampooed the carpets, detailed it, smelled good. Next morning, same smell. I'm like, man, I just spent like $80 detailing this out. I went a little over a week in that truck, driving in the winter weather through the Midwest recruiting with my windows down because of the smell. Had no idea. Totally had forgot about that snake being in my truck that one night. Totally had forgot. And finally, the lady that ran the bookstore, tall, big woman.
Was it Fran?
Fran, bless her heart, she was awesome. She was awesome. Like, she could do it. She'd beat you in arm wrestling, and she'd also hug your neck and tell you she loved you. Just a great woman. And anyways, she said, come here, honey, pull that truck around here. And she took my whole dash off, my steering column, and she went up to the office. She said, come here, I found it. I'm like, what? She said, just come here, you just need to see it. There was an 8-foot-long dead, who knows how long it had been dead, python in the dash up along the firewall of my truck.
Oh, my goodness.
I about killed Deshaun. Because when, like, the next morning he wakes up, he realizes he doesn't have a snake, right?
Yeah, right.
And never did
call me.
No, right.
No. Okay.
Right.
I mean, it was, and so I've got a picture in my office. You guys come to the office sometime, you'll see a picture of that snake, and it's like the head's hanging down when she took the glove box out. I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? Again, there was nothing easy about coach. So if you could coach at St. Catherine, you can coach. I mean, winter break, man, we'd have to go down to the kitchen. We didn't have any money to feed our guys. So literally we'd go down to Critters, and I'd buy a loaf of bread. For those listening, Critters was the Marathon gas station, where apparently they had really good poker games in the back room on weekends. But anyways, we go buy a loaf of bread and bologna and cold cuts, and that's what we fed our guys over Christmas break.
Yep.
An instant oatmeal.
Yep.
And but sorry for that long dive.
No, that's fantastic. But like I said, if you can coach at St. Catherine, and of course, who was the head coach when you were there?
Ryan Swanson.
Okay.
So JT, one night I hadn't slept in 2 days because I've been on the road recruiting, and I'm young, I'm working my tail off, and I had physical exhaustion. I didn't know it at the time. I passed out in my bathroom. So I'm late to an individual workout the next morning. I never missed a workout, So JT actually was a volunteer assistant for us that year. Mm-hmm. All right. And he was substitute teaching at Washington County High School, trying to figure out what he wanted to do. And he comes by the house, knocks on the door. I don't hear any of this. And the door was open, so he just walks in the basement of the house and picks me up off the floor. And I'm in like my boxer shorts and a T-shirt. I'd gotten sick in the floor. Obviously, didn't remember. I was knocked out. Takes me to Springview Hospital in Lebanon, and I wake up 2 days later.
Oh, wow.
And the doctor said, all we can tell is that you just had physical exhaustion and you just needed rest.
Yeah.
2 days later.
Yeah.
So I don't know what would have happened if I'd have stayed, if JT hadn't come and picked me up that night, that morning, So good memories in Springfield. Good memories. Jeff Britt was the AD, the girls coach. Jeff and he's now at Bethel, Tennessee, as the boys basketball coach there, NAIA school down in, I think, McKenzie, Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken. But just everybody was together because the only way you were going to make it is by being together.
Yep.
Well,
I mean, of course, I was there in 03 through 08, and you would see these kids. Typically they'd be basketball players. And our baseball team was good too. It was good then, and it continued to be good. Luther Bramlett actually left St. Catherine when they closed and went to Midway and started their program, and they just won the conference tournament and made the NAIA national tournament this year. Gotcha. So, but baseball team typically country kids anyway, so wasn't too big a shock. You would see some of these kids come in from inner cities and like, what the heck is going on? And it's just, but there's just a draw to St. Catherine. It's still to this day I drive past, and it makes me sad seeing that it's well, now it's a drug rehabilitation center. But for the longest time, you'd see the soccer field grown up and the baseball field grown up, and I was like, man, there was some. I'm fortunate that I got to be at St. Catherine at the peak, like when it was never any better than the time that I was there.
The art teacher's name, Miss Bloomfield, Brookfield.
Betty Brookfield.
She was such a nice lady, man.
Yeah.
Such a nice lady. She had her team over for dinner all the time. She lived out in the country. She came to all the games. There's nothing else to do.
Nope.
Yeah.
Right. There's nothing. I mean, you go watch a baseball game. You go watch a soccer game. You go watch, the basketball team play, the girls' basketball team. There's nothing else to do. What are you going to do? Hang out in the dorm, look at the wall?
Well, and they didn't even have the new dorms built yet, I don't think, whenever you were there.
No, we still lived in the old
Bertrand Hall.
Yeah, Bertrand Hall.
Yeah,
but that, there's more stories. We won't make this podcast episode about my life or your life at St. Catherine, but you're right. And I think all young coaches, on that note, need to experience that kind of just hardship early on. Mm-hmm. And I'll be honest with you, the way these guys they're graduating, they're getting GA jobs, graduate assistant jobs at levels, everything. They're getting paid, they're getting their school paid for, get their apartment paid for. We were paying our GAs at Division II Valdosta State $800 a month, and they had a free place to live, and their tuition was free, for grad school.
Yep.
And that was better than I had it at St. Catherine as a full-time assistant coach. Right. But anyways, then they go right into these like director of ops or director of scouting, and they've never really had that struggle to where, like I had at St. Catherine, figuring out a creative way to sell the school to this kid from Savannah, Georgia.
Yep.
Or because you want him, you like him, he'd be a great fit is what you need. How you make it work, you know? And we were recruiting against Vincennes, who just won the JUCO National Championship. We were recruiting against Wabash Valley. We were recruiting, against junior colleges that have budgets that were 20 times ours.
Well, was Georgia Perimeter
Georgia Perimeter?
You're talking about a school in Georgia Perimeter that has, 7, 8, 10, 12 campuses. Like, it's huge.
Outside of Atlanta.
Yeah. So, last story about St. Catherine, and it sticks out in my mind.
You're going to have to edit this.
Basketball games, and you would always tell the teams the opposing team would always send a player out, and they would dribble a ball on the court to find out all the dead spots. Yeah. There were dead spots on the court, and you'd be dribbling, you'd hit a dead spot, it'd just stop.
We had a guy named Willie Bynum, loved the weight room. Well, the weight room was the stage.
Yep.
So you picture the basketball court, which wasn't a college-length court, by the way. It was a high school length court. Oh. All right. Had, 4 rows of bleachers on one side, 4 rows on the other?
Yep.
All right. And so it had a stage at the end of it. And that's where the weights, and obviously the weights have been donated, and it was a hodgepodge of things that sometimes worked. But literally we'd be warming up, and Willie would be up there lifting in his warm-up. It would be like warm-ups, and he would get a quick lift in there. He just, in his uniform and his warm-up, he'd just jump down the stage and come to the huddle. It was just so. And we'd have. I remember like Billy Gillespie was an assistant at Kansas.
Yep.
And he came to watch us play, and I remember taking him out to Pizza Hut after a game, and just he's like, "Coach, I've been because in Kansas there's some middle of nowhere junior college. All right, I am so sorry. We're still
no,
that's fine.
So by New Year's Eve, all right, 2 things. By New Year's Eve of the 99-2000 season, we had played more games in Kansas than we had any other state.
Yep.
St. Catherine's in Springfield, Kentucky.
It is.
Right, yeah.
We played 6 games in Kansas.
That's a long time to drive
12 passenger vans.
Yep.
I brought in the Millennium in a Best Western in Great Bend, Kansas.
Yep.
So if all the naysayers said, hey, it's doomsday, everything's going to shut down when it turns year 2000, I'd have been stuck in a probably 20 below zero weather condition in a Best Western in Great Bend, Kansas, where the only thing you could hear was the wind blowing outside. That's where I brought it, because we were in a tournament in Barton County, Barton County Junior College.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great to go to a big university or even just my son goes to Moorhead, and it's not a huge university, but it's a university, Division I university. I don't know that there's better stories.
Oh man,
there's much better stories when you go to a junior college or going to a D2 or an NAIA. It's obvious.
Well,
there is some,
and not only on the coaching aspect, but for a player to come to a school like St. Catherine,
right?
Like, you really want to play collegiate ball,
right?
Like, no matter what the sport is, you really want to play.
That's awesome.
So, no, when I heard that on the last show, I was like, I got to
played soccer there.
I got to talk to Coach Mays about St.
Catherine.
We got to stick together, brother.
Yeah, there's not.
I didn't go to school there, obviously, but I mean, I was only there 1 year. But man, I tell you,
we got at least two. Bailey Warner, that plays on the girls' basketball team. Both her parents went to St. Catherine.
Really?
They both were athletes at St. Catherine. So
nice. So obviously, at junior college, like you said, you want to play basketball. You want to play sports. It's deep in your soul. You want to play sports. You work hard at it. How's the team going? Yeah. Looks like they're working hard, because some of the clips that I've seen out there, they're lifting weights.
Kids out running at night.
They're running at night.
How about that? I tagged the police department in that one. I got a nice message or a comment from the police department. I think they thought it was probably as funny as I did. All right. So first of all, I don't know how good we're going to be, and I'm not sandbagging because I haven't let them play yet. All we are doing is strength training, strength and conditioning, and skill work. Really, just shooting. Mm-hmm. And we're going to start our summer practices next week. We're allowed to do things like that after graduation, and we'll get into our June schedule here in a minute. But I'll know what we have come June 25th.
Yeah.
Here's what I know. I know that they are high-character kids from good families that care about this community and this school. They represent the best of who we are as a community at their age. They represent what's always good about Montgomery County High School and Montgomery County schools. They're good ambassadors for everything MoCo, whether they realize it or not. They are, because they're just the characters there.
Right.
So they're raised right, and that always helps. I think they've got some toughness. I haven't, defensively is going to be the biggest learning curve, but I don't do any defensive coaching in the summer. Coach Cal one time was saying, you don't need to spend all the summer coaching defense. You'll burn them out come October. And I took that to heart and tried it 2 years ago, and I thought it worked. So all we do is focus on playing together and offensive pace and spacing in the summers, and teaching them what freedom looks like, feels like, and it's not always what they think it is. You got to really work to play with freedom in a basketball game, but just trying to let them understand that there's a certain level of intensity that you have to play the game with if you want to be successful at the end of the game. And so that's what we spend our summers doing. I don't know how many games we'll win this summer. I don't care.
Right.
I want them to see and feel what playing hard. Look, and there's going to be days. We're going to play over 30 games in June.
Right.
So they're going to be beat up. They're going to be sore. There's going to be sprained ankles, tweaked knees, sore backs, busted shoulders. I mean, it's just it's part of it.
It's a good prelude to hey, instead of just playing what I used to do, play at the pool or something like that, play at the Easy Walker. Instead of just doing that, you're playing together against teams and getting out there and just having a pumped up scrimmage for the most part.
It's different nowadays because it's hard for these kids to have a job.
Yeah.
I've got a few that do, umpiring Little League Baseball, this and that.
Yeah.
And I acknowledge that, and it's not mandatory. The coaches say the rules this period of time is not mandatory. It's voluntary. But they're going about their work like it's mandatory. And their parents so far have been very supportive as well.
That's awesome.
But it's a lot. I mean, it taxes the parents. I mean, if they want to come watch them play in June, they're going to be traveling and buying a hotel room. And I cover everything. We cover everything for the kids. But it's I didn't do this with convenience in mind.
Sure.
And I don't really apologize for that.
Right.
Because they need to see what legit programming looks like and feels like in the summer, because it worked at Ashland. Our kids loved our summers. They just loved it. They took pride in it, and we had almost 100% participation from everybody that was on a roster come October. And so it was important, and our team becoming one. But other things I'm learning is they are enjoying getting stronger. They enjoy the hard stuff. Like we did a mini Murph yesterday. So on Friday, I'm going to invite the community to come out. The kids probably don't want me to do it, but I'm going to. Next Friday, we're doing a Murph. So what a Murph is, in the CrossFit world, it's named after Michael Murphy in the movie Lone Survivor. The guy, they finally got the radio signal at the edge of the cliff, and they shot him, and that was Michael Murphy. Every day his workout was a mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, and another mile run. Okay? He did that every day.
Oof.
Sometimes he did it in a weight vest. So it's sort of a thing to do in the CrossFit world, to do a Murph on Memorial Day weekend to honor those who have fallen.
Gotcha.
Right? It's serving our country. And so I explained this to the kids. We did a mini Murph the other day just to give them a taste. And they're excited about being miserable next Friday. It's going to be the hardest thing physically they've ever done.
Yeah.
And they're not running from it. They're excited about it, And I think they're excited to see it's just more than just putting in plays and being on a basketball team. It's they're growing mentally, physically. I think they're liking how their body's changing when they look at themselves in the mirror. That gives them confidence. But you know what? The things I don't know about them are the stuff that's in between the sidelines, and that's coming here in a few weeks.
Sure, absolutely.
So, the school is great. I've seen our superintendent, Dr. Thompson, probably 7 times in the building since April 10th. The first day I was here, he actually was observing teachers in the room I was co-teaching in on the first day. And I won't name names, and anybody could go Google it if they want to. I never saw my former superintendent in the high school at all in 5 years. And I've seen a superintendent here in the school probably 7 or maybe even more than that in a month. So he gets it. He's a very, very smart man. He understands how education works, how educational policy works. I think he works really hard. And having known him when he was in another district at Scott County, and my wife, worked with him, for him, I've always respected him. But so when your top figurehead has boots on the ground, so to speak, that's encouraging. And then the new administration at the high school, Principal Lawson and Austin Maples and Luke Toy and Crystal Howard, the 3 assistant principals, they're working their tails off. And just there's a good vibe at the school. I'm encouraged as a parent that my son will be here next year.
Gotcha.
And that my daughter is not far away.
Yeah.
I'm encouraged by that. And so it's a great school. And facilities are unbelievable. They're as nice as I had heard and had hoped. So I'm happy. I'm just spending about $800 a month in fuel driving my 2012 Yukon back and forth to Ashland every day. But it's okay. It gives me time to think and to listen to podcasts and to get some phone calls done. But I'm tired of the commute. So we got a really nice cash offer on our house, fortunately. Thank the Lord above. Yeah. So we're going to probably have a quick sell. And going to be moving here soon, putting stuff in storage because we're going to move to Powell County and move in with my mother-in-law for a while.
Gotcha.
She's a widow and got plenty of room in her house, and we're going to aggravate her for a while. So,
well, Coach, I know you said that you don't necessarily know what you have because you haven't done a lot of basketball stuff. You've done a lot of, conditioning, weight training, and some shooting. Has there been any players so far in all that has stood out to you? You know, and that you say you have high character guys. Have you seen anybody take leadership roles? Have you seen anybody has made drastic changes?
The leader so far has been Brecken Decker. Absolutely. I mean, he works his tail off. He wants to be good. He wants to be good. He wants to be a meaningful basketball player and leave a meaningful legacy at this school when he's done. Which is crazy because, I don't know if you guys know, Brecken got cut like twice in middle school.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he is a self-made player.
Yes.
And what I've seen so far is, I don't want to box myself in here, but what I've seen so far is that he is a scholarship-worthy college basketball player.
Sure.
At what level, that's yet to be seen. He's strong. He moves well. He's got a 4.4. I still get confused on how kids have 4.4 GPAs. But he has a 4.4 GPA. So he's a winner.
Yeah.
And then there's another kid named Matthew Willoughby. He's going to be a senior too. Matthew was the guy in the video that I posted the other day with the bass mat or whatever, the hat on, acting like a fool. But I mean that in a loving way. I told Matt, I said, Matthew, I have no idea how much you're going to play, but you're going to be a leader.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, just that. And that stuff's important. As a 47-year-old basketball coach, I realize how important that is right now versus when I was a 25-year-old coach. I would just be focusing on who can score buckets, We've got good kids. And then, Luke Fons has a chance to be special. I don't think the apples has fell from the tree and hit him in the head, and he's had that aha moment yet.
Yep.
Luke's got to get some DAWG dog in him.
Yeah.
And it's there. We did a contest in the weight room the other day, and he won it, and I didn't think he would, but he did, and it wasn't even close.
Yeah.
He did over a 5-minute plank, which is insane.
Yeah.
So
my abs are hurting. You just saying that.
I don't have any hurt.
I don't either. That's what.
But he's shown some toughness. Luke just has to sort of let the process of thinking about how things are supposed to work, let that go, and just do.
Yep.
You ever seen the movie Top Gun Maverick?
Yes.
Yes, we have.
You remember when he was telling me, he was telling Goose's son, he said, I don't know how he said it, but just let go, just do, just be.
Right. You think too much.
Yeah, I think too much.
Yeah.
And I'm beginning to see that Luke is a guy that really wants to be acclimated to the environment and understand his role clearly. And I could be 100% wrong on this, but he's got a chance to be a mid-major Division I basketball player. But, here's the great thing about Luke, his character, his faith. I don't think it matters to Luke. I think Luke wants to play in college. But if Luke thinks Asbury's the best place for him to go to school, he'll go to Asbury.
Yeah.
He's going to be a great kid for coaches to recruit because it's going to be fun to watch because he may have an NAIA school in here one day that he really likes. He may have a mid-major school that's on ESPN 3 days a week recruiting him the next night. And he really he's going to make his own unique decision.
Yeah.
Because he's a humble kid. But he's got a chance. Dawson Gentry is got a very unnatural release on his jump shot, but it goes in. I told him, I'm giving you the summer. You show me you can hit that in competition, I'll leave you alone. But he's going to be a dog too, man.
And the kid can use his right hand just as well as his left hand. Like I watched him last year, and I was like, he just went to the rack with his right hand like it was just second nature. And I mean, he's left-handed. I mean, he shoots the ball well from the outside with his left hand, and he'll go to the board, and you're like, did he just lay that up with his right hand? It didn't look like anything different. So,
Well, contrary to what you'll probably see in here on Twitter, there was a kid that had moved in here before I had even taken a job here and interviewed. A kid named Ethan Dunn, D-U-N-N. He played at Bryan Station last year. He's a sophomore now, rising junior. That kid's going to be a scholarship kid. He's a point guard, and we needed that position. So that kid's got he's tough. He's a great student. He's so pleasant to be around. He's mannerly. I've had several comments from teachers about how respectful he is in the classroom. Their family is living in Mount Sterling now. He has a sister who's a sophomore as well. She's in school there, and she's a basketball player.
Gotcha.
He's good. He's having some good AAU tournaments right now. But that, I mean, and I'm leaving some kids out that I don't. I just love some of these kids. They're just great kids. I can't wait for my wife to get to know them because she's going to love them.
Yeah.
But I'm happy. This was the right move.
I can tell you right now, there's nothing better than having a coach's wife love your team, because when I was a senior in high school, we had a pretty good soccer season, made it to the state championship game, but there was nothing better in district tournament play, regional tournament play. We had probably 2 to 3 spaghetti dinners that was hosted by one of the parents, but basically cooked by Coach Linden's wife at the time. And there was nothing better. I mean, because she just absolutely loved the team, loved everybody that was there, and I can tell just by the past interview and in this interview now that your wife's going to be the same way. Just absolutely love the players on the team.
I mean,
there's nothing better than that.
You got Bryce Campbell and you got Dan Clutie, and these kids are just, they're enjoying the process of working hard.
Yeah, right.
I haven't had any kids envious of this kid, and I'm gonna have to deal with this mommy and daddy. No, I haven't had any of that.
Yeah,
and I'm very transparent. I try to communicate early and often with people, and it minimizes that. But they're just enjoying the process of getting better.
Yeah.
So I just ordered a bunch of gear from Nike, and a lot of it's going to be branded with progress over perfection. Progress, there's a line underneath progress, and perfection is written underneath that line. So you can visually see it's progress over perfection, because we're going to be as far from perfect as as any team in the state. And but June 25th, we'll know what we got to get better at. We will know what our weaknesses are, what our strengths are. We'll know about our character, and we'll know more about our toughness. And I'll have a better idea of schematically and strategically how to put this team in the best situation to win ball games. Got a great schedule. We're actually last week we're going to play Warren Central this year.
Nice.
So
nice.
We're going to play them in a neutral tournament.
I mean, I hear they just had
Clem Haskins Classic at Taylor County High School.
Clem Haskins Classic.
Back in your neck of the woods.
I've been to a few Clem Haskins Classics. Yeah. Warren Central's had some. I mean, I think they've had some pretty good success here recently.
I mean, they've not been too bad.
So, Coach, you talked about how excited the guys are. How excited are you after being away from the game for a year? How excited are you to be back?
Unbelievably excited. I get up at 4:30 every morning. I haven't always done that. And it hasn't bothered me. Now, I'm tired at night. I've been going to bed early to make that work. But the reason it hasn't bothered me is because I know I'm getting up and where I'm going and who I'm going to deal with, who I get to interact with. And so that's a good litmus test for me. If I was struggling with that already, then there might be a disconnect somewhere. No, I'm hitting that gas pedal 80 miles an hour, or and getting my Starbucks in Moorhead at my midway point every morning, and coming into school, and I'm got a pep in my step, and I'm excited to be here. And it's not just the basketball part either, guys. It's the school.
Yep.
It's a great place, and I haven't been able to meet a lot of people in town yet because I haven't been able to be at social things. I've only been to one baseball game here because my son's playing baseball for Ashland, and my promise to him was that I wouldn't miss a game, and I've missed one game. But see, I do the PA for all the home baseball games at Ashland, and so they got smoked. Don't even ask me about the game last night in the district championship game by Boyd County. But they got regional tournament coming up. But I've been having to get back and go to his baseball games.
Yeah.
And so this summer will give me an opportunity to get out and meet more people. We're actively right now doing what I call friend raising and fundraising. There's some people I just need a friend of the program. Some people that I need a friend of the program and their funds. There's some people I just
need your funds.
Yeah, I need funds. So, I'm not afraid to ask people for money because I know what I'm asking them for. And as long as the advocacy that if they can see that I'm an advocate for our young men and how basketball can develop them as young men and how we can make an impact on this community through basketball, I think they'll buy into that, and people that have that and businesses that have the means to support something like that. But we're forming our 501c3. It's almost done. We're middle of that process. Done on the state part. Now we're dealing with the IRS part, and we've got our board formed, and we've got our first draft for bylaws formed, and so it's Red Book compliant, which is the Kentucky Department of Education's way of monitoring, booster clubs. But
know all about that.
Yeah. So it's we got camps coming up. We got a busy June, so I don't know if you guys want to transition into
Well, that's
that.
what I was going to say. Yeah, tell us absolutely. You've talked about the busy June. Let's lay it out for us. Tell us what your June looks like.
Before we get to June, 2 weeks from now, the 30th through the 1st, what is that, Tuesday through Thursday? It's the day after Memorial Day. We have the hashtag I Can Score camp. And I went away from Little Indian Camp or Mount Sterling High School Camp or Mount Sterling Camp or Montgomery County High School Camp or Coach Jason May's camp because I wanted kids in this community and other communities to just literally come to a camp where they can learn to be a better scorer, period.
Yep.
Yeah. And so one day hashtag I Can Score, So I don't know if it'll work or not, but I'm hoping it becomes a regional camp that basketball players of all ages want to come to grades if you're going into the first grade or into the 8th grade. And so registration's going really well online right now. It's trending like we're going to have probably between 100 and 125. Probably going to have to stop. I hope we don't have to stop online registration, but the way it's picking up right now, I'm a little worried about that. So I think we're definitely going to have to use not only the barn but the arena as well. Obviously, we're going to use the arena, but I think we're going to have to use the barn as well for that camp because we're going to have so many kids. And literally, it's just going to be about offensive instruction. So on the 30th, my former player at Ashland, Colin Porter, is coming. Going to be a guest demonstrator. And is going to share his testimony, his faith as a person and as a player. We're going to do some cool things. He's going to have some cool handouts from Liberty University and their program. And then I got another foreign player that's coming, Ethan Sellers, who's a scholarship student athlete at Cedarville University. Had a really good year as a freshman for them this year up in Ohio. And then I don't know what I'm doing on the last day. I'm talking to Mikasa Robinson at the University of Louisville. I'd like to have a female presence there, but she's got some schedule conflicts. So I don't know if we can get that worked out or not. But it's for boys and girls, grades 1 through 8. We'll break it up, grades 1 through 4 and grades 5 through 8. And they'll all be working on the same skills, just different intensity levels and different details of the same skill. I do camp differently. I bring them all in. I show everybody at the same time the one single skill. And we aim small, miss small. We'll break up, and we work on that one single skill for 15 minutes. Yep. They're just working on that one thing for 15 minutes, and they get better. So I'm hoping people can come out and experience it. And then we get into June. So if I'm doing this from the top of my head. All right, so first of all, we got the MoCo Summer League. And I'm actively looking for a sponsor for that. I've got some people we're going to approach about it, but if anybody wants to reach out to me, feel free to. But the MoCo Summer League is something that I'm also hoping to catch us on. So far as of today, we got 55 teams in it.
Oh, geez.
Oh,
now,
wow.
Not schools, teams.
Right, sure.
So you may be school X and bring 2 teams.
Right.
That's also, we have girls teams, we have boys teams. Sure. And we have middle school teams, we have freshman teams, JV teams, varsity teams. So literally any program can find a division to play, and it's free. I don't charge them to come,
right?
Which is almost unheard of. Why? Because sponsorship, and then we make money off the gate and the concessions. And I want schools to come and not worry about anything other than just reserving a bus to get their team here and play basketball.
Right.
You know. So it worked at Ashland, and it's starting to. This will be the first year, so we'll see what we need to do better going forward. But it's right now we're at 55 teams, so I'm gonna cut off registration for that tomorrow, and I've already started working on the schedule. So that's every Monday. It's every Monday. It's Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday. June 5th and 6th, June 12th and 13th, June 19th and 20th. Originally had the 21st on there, but I'm probably going to lop that day off. So it's really every Monday, Tuesday of June. And then the last Monday, Tuesday is dead period. So that's why we don't go there. So we have our summer league. Then June 7th through the 9th, we're going to be in Paducah at an event. The reason I'm taking my team down there, they'll play teams that they're probably not ever going to see in the regular season, Western Kentucky teams. I think our first game we're playing Ballard County. Mm-hmm. I mean, when's the last time has Montgomery County ever played Ballard County?
I would think not.
No.
Yeah, I mean, but you know where Ballard County is? It's like touches Missouri.
Right. Yes.
So, just play some teams that we're not going to see, and then there's going to be a lot of scouting services there. There's going to be like 8 recruiting services there, not college coaches, but recruiting services to get some of our guys' name out on social media and stuff, and do some player promotion. So it's twofold. And then, so that's an overnight trip. And then we're going straight from Paducah to Lawrenceburg, Indiana. And we're playing a bunch of Indiana and Ohio teams at Lawrenceburg High School in a 2-day shootout tournament format there. Some really good teams. We got a chance to get our butt whipped in that thing, but that's okay. Like there's 2 teams that have 4 and 5-star prospects on them. The one kid's going to IU on a team. So we're going there. And then the 14th, we're going to Morehead State for a day to play 2 or 3 games. And then the 15th, we're going to Wolfe County to play 2 or 3 games against some mountain teams. Then we're going to Collins High School, 16th through the 18th for the NCAA Scholastic period, which is cool because everybody thinks college coaches just go out and recruit AAU tournaments in the summer, which they do, except for 2 weekends in June. As of 2 years ago, they're allowed to go out and see high school teams play live, coached by their high school coaches. Okay, but they have to be at these certified events.
Gotcha.
And so one of them's at Collins. My former player at Georgetown, Chris Gaither, is the head coach at Collins. And so my Ashland team went 3 years ago, and then we hosted one 2 years ago at Ashland. It was really fun, a lot of hard work. But we're going to the one in Collins, and hopefully these kids there'll be 200 college coaches there. There'll be 150 Division I coaches and probably 50 non-Division I coaches there watching teams play. And I think he's got over 65 teams in it. And then that next week, we've got Moco Summer League, and then we're going to Sandusky, Ohio, up on Lake Erie at Cedar Point. Cedar Point's got this sports facility now. It's got like 16 basketball courts in it.
Oh, okay.
And they're having the Ohio version of that Scholastic Live event. And so we'll be playing Friday and Saturday there. Dead period starts midnight on that Saturday the 24th, so we can't play Sunday. And so, but I mean, we are literally maximizing every day that we have available.
I mean, who needs AAU ball?
Right? Well, you know what? And
I mean, it's technically AAU ball with your high school team.
Well,
it just can make it
at
better.
Ashland, none of our kids got a scholarship offer from AAU. I'm not anti-AAU. But AAU should supplement your high school experience.
Yes.
I'll preach that from the mountaintops. Problem is, a lot of high school coaches don't get into the player promotion thing, and so they don't know how to player promote because they have, I've been fortunate to be on the college side of things and understand how it works a little bit. But I believe in player promotion.
Sure.
And yes, I'm gonna get all over social media promoting our kids.
Yeah.
I've been slow to do that right now because I haven't really seen them play, so I'm being guarded on that. But I'm taking these events, and we're going to play really good teams.
Right.
And we're going to lose a lot of games. Maybe not. Maybe they surprise me. But we're not ready for the competition that we're going to play against. But that's how you get ready for that competition.
Sure, absolutely.
Is to go up against it.
100%.
And so we go into our regular season this year. They're going to look at our schedule and like, we've played teams back in the summer that were better than anybody we're playing. So we knock that chip off their shoulder a little bit, and so that's it. And then July is just back to strength. We're still going to lift in June, not as much, but we still are going to be dedicated to that. And July we go back to 4 and 5 day lifts, and that'll continue into August and September. And then when school starts in mid-August, we'll do some skill development. A lot of what we're doing right now is skill development and strength training. And then October 15th comes, and we'll start practice, and we'll still lift 2 days a week during season. But that's sort of the rundown.
Yeah, wow.
I mean,
busy.
No kidding, man. I mean, you talk about an full itinerary.
Well, I mean, one of the things since you've been here, and it sounds like it was this way at your previous stops, that, and a lot of people don't realize, there's nothing wrong with two-sport athletes and or kids that play multiple sports, but there are kids that don't play multiple sports. You have kids that just play basketball, and they're going to play basketball year-round. So you have found, you're figuring out a way that you can maximize them working with you as opposed to working somewhere else. So, I mean, sports, if you want to put the work in and be good, it's a 365-day commitment.
But it's also important to understand that I like, let's take Cole Rose, for example, who I really think is an outstanding young man. Just now getting to know him a little bit because he's not in our basketball conditioning class 6 period. But he's going to be a dynamic football player.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a really nice frame, and he's just a freshman. But I told him, I said, hey, I met with Coach Kiper. I said, Coach, how we do this, how we work together, how can Cole benefit both football and basketball? He says, here's when we lift. I said, all right, I'll stay away from your lifting program there, and we won't play until the afternoon in our summer league. I said, no, we also have some trips that we're going to take, and I'd like for him to be. He's going to want to be on some of those trips because they're fun. And so he said, I have no problem with that. And he said, but he needs to go to some prospect camps too. I said, absolutely, for football. So he's going to like UK and EKU and some other prospect camps. And so he'll miss the Paducah trip because he's going to some football prospect camps.
Yeah.
But then he might miss a weightlifting session or two of football because he's with us at maybe one of the NCAA events. So, it's about doing what's best for the kid.
Right.
And Coach Kiper, he has his heart in the right place as a football coach. And then we got some kids that are still in track that I really haven't seen yet. Mason Fowler, who's a high jumper, I haven't really seen him on the basketball floor. But I really haven't seen Cole. Cole came to shooting workout today, but I'll be glad when I see more of these kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's for the kids that are just basketball players. They don't lack from in Montgomery County Schools is investing in them as a student athlete.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Year round.
Yep.
And their families in no shape or form can deny that.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
I noticed that before the I Can Score was put out and whatnot, you did put out on social media that I guess you got solidified the Joe B. Hall Denny Crum tournament solidified. It looked like you were still looking for a team or two.
I'll give you an update.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're having two big events. The schedule is pretty much done. We got 29 games right now.
Yeah.
I can have up to 30. I don't know if I will or not. But high school basketball is going to a lot of these classics.
Yeah.
And you have to be careful. You got to get your schedules done earlier than ever now. Your schedule needs to be penciled in February for the next year. And 5 years ago even, it was guys are working on it in July.
Yeah.
Well, everybody's wanting to host tournaments now and do these classics and things like that. So we're actually going to we're going to Clem Haskins Classic. We're playing Warren Central at Taylor County, which they got a beautiful new school and facility.
Yep.
We're going to the Bobby Bowling Classic, where I think we are playing Somerset. No, we're playing Breathitt County.
Okay.
There at Owsley County. Now, my mom and dad are both from Owsley County, and we're not going it because my family's from Owsley County. But Bobby Bowling was a friend, and he died of cancer a few years ago, and he was the boys' basketball coach there and AD there. So it's something to honor his memory. That made sense to me. That's something I've been wanting to play in even when I was at Ashland, just hadn't had a chance to. We have the Gateway. Gateway's still a living, breathing organism right now. The Gateway, it's called the Gateway Holiday Classic, but it's a tournament format. Mm-hmm. So I don't mean to step on toes here, but it needs to be called the Gateway Holiday Tournament or the Gateway Holiday Invitational,
right, or
the Gateway Invitational Tournament, because it's a tournament.
Yeah.
Classic is where you know who the teams you're playing for the 3 days, period. It's not a winner, it's not a consolation bracket and, survive and advance kind of thing, first place, third place, fifth place, seventh place. And that's why we do it, so it needs to be called a tournament,
right,
in my opinion. But maybe I'm just being OCD on that. But we've got teams that have been in the state tournament in the last 2 years. In that, we got Lincoln County, we got Pulaski County, we got we got 3 teams coming from Virginia. See, I want it to be 4 or 5 teams from Kentucky, and then I also want some out-of-state talent to come in.
Sure.
That worked well at our AIT, and I want to continue that model. Now, when you bring in out-of-state, they can't be bums. You need to bring in some really talented teams that are good enough to win it.
Yeah.
So we definitely have done that. Virginia's interesting. They got most states aren't like Kentucky. Like when I was in Georgia, there's 7 different associations for high school athletics.
Right.
I was losing track. Okay, we got 21 state champions in boys basketball this year. You got 7 divisions in GHSA. Then you have Georgia Christian Association, Georgia Catholic Association, Georgia Independent School Association, Georgia Icon-Fogomir Association. And then they all had the Catholic schools. They had 3 divisions, and the Independents had 3 divisions. So everyone gets a state championship. And obviously, I'm a proponent of the basketball tournament staying one class. I don't have a great argument other than that's the way it's always been. It needs to stay. And I know that there's a fallacy in that, but it's just special. Don't ruin it.
Right. There's nothing better.
Yeah, don't ruin it. And so Kentucky's not like other states. Well, in Virginia, they have several associations, but one of them is called the VISA, Virginia Independent School Association. There's some really talented schools in the VISA, like your Oak Hills and stuff like that. So we got the Carmel School out of Richmond, very athletic. Their head coach, Kerry Williams, is a great dude. We've got Peninsula Catholic out of the Hampton, Newport News area. We've played them before when I was at Ashland. They're always good. And then we got Catholic High School out of Virginia Beach, who was 31-2 last year.
Oof.
And won state championship.
Nice. Interesting
story. Bobby Steinberg is their coach. Bobby Steinberg was a Division I assistant for many years. Coached at Bellarmine, coached at Kent State. I'm forgetting other places he's coached. His dad got his first job in radio at WSMT, right here in Mount Sterling. Did I say that right? WMST,
yep.
Yeah. Dan Manley hired his dad in the early 70s. And so he coaches Catholic high school, and they'll be in the Gateway.
Nice.
So
that's cool.
Got a little Mount Sterling nostalgia there.
Hopefully Dan can get out and do a article on that for the paper. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be cool.
And then you got the Joe B. Hall. It's technically going to be called the Joe B. and Denny Classic. I am so excited about this thing. This thing's going to take off, guys.
Yeah.
It's going to get a brand. It's going to run. So history, Ira Combs ran it for years and hosted it here in Montgomery County. And
technical difficulties.
Wes's microphone just collapsed.
Wes just got hit in the head with a bowling ball. Pardon our interruption here. No, I'm just kidding. So Ira Combs, a part of the Combs family out of Eastern Kentucky, started and hosted it here. Phil Risen, Bart Risen allowed him to host it, and it was a big event, big draw. It's a single-day event, and we're having it January 6th, and I'm doing 2 things. High school format, and we're also bringing in some prep schools.
Oh, nice.
So we got Hargrave talking to Oak Hill. We got a Huntington Prep, Link Prep out of Missouri, who's lost the national championship game this year for the Geico High School National Championship. We got La Luminaire. These prep schools have some weird names, but you want to see talent.
Yeah.
So Friday night is going to be a prep showcase. We're going to have 2 or 3 prep school / post-grad games where there's going to be several 3 and 4 and 5 star players on the floor.
Yeah.
Which will probably be, and you know how people here in Montgomery County, they know, Cal's coming to a game here in Moco. What are they going to do? They're going to have an early dinner. They're going to go to the game too.
They're going to go to the game. Yeah.
So it's going to those type players are going to be here. And then Saturday we're going to have 3 or 4 high school games, and then we're also going to have more prep school games Saturday night.
Okay, nice.
So it'll be people who love basketball from Central Kentucky, all of Kentucky really, but Central Kentucky and Eastern Kentucky. They will really be able to come and see some talent that maybe they'll only be able to see once in a lifetime.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So we're looking for sponsors for that too, and Wes needs a doctor here. He's struggling.
He's just gonna hold it.
I'm just gonna hold it. I can't get it back on the table, so whatever. It's just gonna be. It is what it is.
There we go. He's knocking over water bottles. We're we're struggling.
Hey,
here.
it's okay. We'll get through it.
It's fine. It's fine.
But the tournament sounds awesome, and I know you're extremely excited.
Well, are you talking about the tournament or the classic? Because he just gave us
You're right.
the difference.
You're right.
Well, that's not just my decision. Like Coach Dustin High, he's obviously his team is equally involved in the Gateway. So in our school, our district, it probably goes all the way to Dr. Thompson's going to have to make a decision if we can change it. I'd like to change the logo too. I mean, we've got this Santa doing the MJ pose with his beer belly hanging out. I'm like, I don't know if that's the logo we want to use. So, just little things that we need to, I think, can brand not only just our school and our program, but our community.
Right.
Man, I don't think it's a bad thing. People realize, Montgomery County is a great athletic community.
Yes.
Hey, they're known for their sports there. What's bad about that?
And not only that, we're in a region that very well known throughout the state and just continues to be, continues to be better and better and better.
Yeah.
So
it's going to cost a lot of money to do everything that we're talking about. We'll raise it, but
so listen up, community.
well, I mean, be excited about it, but also be willing to help.
Sure,
Right.
absolutely.
I mean, we're bringing these teams. They're staying in our hotels, or eating in our restaurants. So it's and the people that come with them are doing the same. So there's some economic development aspects of it.
Absolutely.
But it's just going to be really good basketball that, it's taking a lot of work, but we're excited about it. So, yeah.
Well, Coach, I know that you talked about getting up 4:30. We don't want to keep you any longer. You're a busy man, and you need to head on up 64 back towards home. But we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule, giving us an update. We always love the opportunity to talk to you, and we knew that if we didn't get you now, June was going to be a crazy month. So it was going to be a while before we could get you again.
I want you guys a few things, and obviously this is your decision, but two things. One, selfless plug here, or shameless plug. CoachJasonMaysCamp.com is where you can go register for the I Can Score camp.
Right.
Okay. Again, that's CoachJasonMaysCamp.com. Or you can register just walking up the first morning of in the arena. Second thing, I would like for you guys to do a live remote at one of our summer league dates, and come just watch some games.
Sure.
And you can talk to players, you can talk to other coaches. Great Crossings is coming one day. I don't think there's any reason why you couldn't get Coach Steve Page, Malachi Moreno, who's obviously probably going to be one of the top players, if not the top player in the state of Kentucky next year.
I mean, if you're going to twist my arm to come watch high school basketball, I might give in.
There's just some, we can get some players on there, and it just, do a live remote, and I don't know if that makes sense for you guys or not. But.
Not 100%. We are there. We pseudo failed at our first on location, but we know exactly what we need to do to fix that, and we will absolutely be there.
We're excited for the opportunity to do that.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
Hashtag I Can Score Camp.
There you go.
May 30th through June 1st.
Yeah.
And CoachJasonMays.com is where you register.
Yep. CoachJasonMaysCamp.com.
CoachJasonMaysCamp.com.
Words are hard for Wes.
Listen, I'm trying to. I have to get the lines and the glasses.
Jimmy,
That's all there is to it. I've held off long enough.
Well, we will also share that on our social media.
Absolutely, 100%.
And get that out. But, Coach, as I said, we appreciate you coming on the show again. Always tremendous talking to you. Anytime I can talk St. Catherine with anybody, it's a great time. We enjoy hearing updates on the team, and we look forward to talking to you again in the very near future.
Yeah, it was awesome. You guys are doing a great thing here. Keep it up.
All right. Thank you so much,
very
Coach.
much.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time, guys. Stay safe, friends.
The Moco Four Horsemen would like to thank you for listening to From Corner to Corner. Be sure to go out and follow us on Twitter, on TikTok, on Facebook, Instagram, and even YouTube. Whatever podcast platform that you listen to us on, be sure to go out and give us a 5-star review. Thanks as always, and we look forward to seeing you next week.